Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Coffee with Cagnetta. And I am so fortunate to have the Cameron Dobbs with me from WSFL 39. She does so many things that I'm just going to let her help me introduce the world of Cameron Dobbs. And I was lucky enough to be on Inside
Inside SoFlo,
inside South
Florida.
Florida, and I was a guest, and I was a featured story. Some of the things we do at Pickleball,
Yeah.
and so we got to meet Cameron. And we were like, wow, we have to have you on Coffee with Cagnetta because you have such an amazing story. So let's start there. Tell us what you're doing, and how you led up to it.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on the pod today. There's not a better place to meet than the pickleball court. So I think that just started off the relationship on a great note.
Yes. And through Kip.
Yes, of course. Kip is the best. We all love Kip.
Right.
And yeah, I do a lot of things, as you joke and mention about, but it's not a joke because it's very much true.
No.
So I am the TV host for Inside South Florida on WSFL 39. That's my full-time job that I'm at every single day in the studio doing. In addition to that, Channel 39 is the broadcast home of the Florida Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Go Cats, baby. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Got to be on the ice. All the fun things with that. I also do some NHL contribution work with them on their show Primetime Panthers.
Wow.
That airs like Thursdays during the season.
All right.
And then in addition to that, I also do ACC Network and ESPN Plus color commentating for volleyball matches. So games like University of Miami, FIU, or FGCU, you might hear my voice on commentating.
Wow.
And then on the side of that, I also have my own business called PWYFA, Play Where Your Feet Are. I'm repping some merch today. But we have everything from merchandise, as you see. But more than that, we have 2 books, a podcast, speaking engagements, camps, clinics, retreats, and more.
I'm exhausted just listening to you, and so, but I think that's what it takes these days.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly in the media business, but let's roll it back first because you mentioned volleyball, and you looked the part, but you actually played the part.
I did, yeah. I played at the University of Miami, and then I coached for 2 seasons as well.
Wow, at the University of Miami.
Yep, go Canes.
Okay, what position?
Fun story. So all my life, I trained as an outside hitter. My older sister was one, and so I just copied everything she did and came recruited as an outside hitter. Ended up playing outside my freshman year, switched to DS, defensive specialist, my sophomore year. Also switched to a middle my sophomore year.
Wow.
And if you don't know volleyball terms, I kind of describe that as going in football terms. That's because that's my other favorite love, is going from basically like a wide receiver to a kicker.
Oh, to a kicker.
And then to a defensive lineman in like a span of a month at the collegiate ACC Power 5 level. So quite the crazy career. And then you tackle on to, I had a ton of injuries, ended up being medically disqualified by the NCAA, and jumped on staff as a coach. And so I look back on my life and see, hey, those 3 different positions I played, though, ended up aiding me so well because then I could coach many positions on the court. Now I can color commentate for a whole volleyball match.
Wow. So you've been through it.
A little bit.
And I knew that about your story, that you went through a lot of injuries, and you actually were just through an injury, but that was unrelated to sports.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe covering sports. But anyway, so tell us about that journey. I mean, you just rifled off a dozen things you do. And I think that's what it takes in today's media. Like, it's so fragmented that you really have to kind of cobble together a career. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, a tiny piece of it is, you don't get into this for the money because you're not starting off making millions. You might look at big ESPN reporters, big time names, and only a few of them are in that bracket.
Right.
But so I think a piece of it is, if you want to have the lifestyle you want, then you do have to pick up a lot of little jobs like that. But at the same time, you just have so many different loves in different areas. And so, I'm able to host a lifestyle show that we do cover sports on.
Right.
But sports is a big pool of my life, and volleyball is my entire backstory. And so to be able to go back into volleyball gyms, work with players, comment on games, I love that. I also host all the women's basketball and baseball games for the University of Miami.
Wow.
So much fun. I love that. It's things outside of my 9-to-5 job that I just love doing they also happen to pay me, which helps me out a little bit on the side.
That's always good.
But it's so much fun. And I think truly, if I look at my broadcasting career, all these little other media type deals that I'm doing outside of it make me better in the long run. You know, I look at my hosting gigs that I do for baseball, and you might see me throwing out a t-shirt, but I see me being relaxed on camera and just having a good time. And that translates when I'm now, you know, stuck in a studio. I don't have to sit with my arms crossed and be stiff. I can have fun and be relaxed and talk casually.
So it's fascinating to me just putting together a career like that. And I remember traditional kind of people in the media, having dealt with them over the years, and they always seemed that there was that kind of traditional, like you have an agent and you have management, and do you do any of that these days, or is it like you're on your own? You're, you know, switching caps and doing everything yourself?
Great question. So when it comes to broadcasting specifically, I don't currently have an agent. However, you know, I perceive as I grow in my career, maybe get a little more big time, that would be something that I'd look into. But I do have a momager. And my momager is the best in the business. Kris Jenner has nothing on her. She is absolute premier, Paula Dobbs. And she helps, actually, she's the co-owner of my business, Play Where Your Feet Are.
Oh, nice.
So we co-founded it together. The phrase actually came from her, something she'd tell me every day, dropping me off at volleyball tournaments and camps and practices. And so, you know, she's not only a big part of it because of that, but she helps run and just handle all the logistics of so many things, lawyer type of stuff. I'm really the creative mind behind it, but then she helps run the business through and through.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must be fun. I mean, is it,
Yeah.
you know, it's fun to be in business with some family. I'm in business with some of my family, brothers, and trying and getting my daughters involved too. So I think that's a lot of fun.
It's sweet. It's sweet.
Wow. So tell me what's going on now. I mean, you have so much going on. You know, what's the latest in your world?
Yeah, I mean, the latest, it has to be my 6th concussion. We can't ignore that fact. I'm going through my 6th concussion right now. We actually rescheduled this podcast because of it. But that's a big part of my story. You know, I can't ignore it because it's my full story. This is number 6. I had 3 of them playing volleyball at Miami. The 3rd one forced me to medically retire, changed my life forever. You know, if it was up to me, Andy, I'd be playing pro right now in Eastern Europe where I've played before, or in Brazil where I've played before. I had much bigger plans in the volleyball world than I ever, you know, was even able to get a chance to pursue. You know, I didn't even get to try, and they say, no, you're not good enough. It was, you can't play at all. And so to go through that was absolutely heartbreaking. It changed my life. It changed my message of my life, everything that I ever strove for, and shifted my career completely. So then I jumped on staff as a cane for 2 years. I got another concussion while coaching for Miami. Again, just continued rocking my world, pursued further, got another one playing in South Beach with friends, and then now got another one at work. And so it's funny, though, because it seems like God kind of almost places these little slow down moments of a concussion in my life at pivotal times to teach me a lot of lessons. You know, the lesson I'm learning right now is the fact that there's always something to celebrate. So, you know, I've been in the hospital. I've had probably close to 45 tests on my brain. But I continue to just sit in the fact that there's always something to celebrate, and you can always play where your feet are, no matter what your season looks like.
So the name of your company.
Yeah. Play where your feet are.
Play where your feet are. That couldn't be more apropos to your story. I mean, I don't know how long you've had that name.
Yeah.
But your feet have to have changed over the years, and you're so positive about it. I mean, I was just gonna say it hasn't changed your cheery disposition.
Tried not to. It's not easy though. But I mean, but the message is the message no matter what the season you're in. And so, you know, I look at maybe the physical, like you said, your feet, your position. If I was on the volleyball court as a Hurricane volleyball player, I was going to try to be the starter, the captain, and I was that. But when all of a sudden I've got a severe injury, I'm not even in the gym anymore, the message doesn't change. You know, I'm still trying to be the best and do my best no matter what, no matter where, even if that day it looks like, you know, getting out of bed and not passing out or not being faint. If I jumped on the sideline as a coach, same message, play where your feet are, to do my best and be my best no matter what, no matter where, knowing that any position I am in has impact and purpose, and to just take advantage and not take up space. And so even in the broadcast world, it continues, like no matter what season I'm in. And then I think even over the years, I've learned more about that phrase in my life as well, that it's not just play where your feet are in the sense of like, oh, grind, work hard, push. I think of play and I think of an athlete on a court or a field and it's grinding and it has like some grit to it. But now I also think of play as like a kid playing on a playground.
Right.
And how much fun that is and how free. Like you're not thinking of bills and taxes and all this stuff as a little kid. You're just so free. And I think we forget that sometimes when we grow older and get into work and jobs and all the things that we're up to. And so it's just a great reminder, no matter what, to play, enjoy, but also work hard wherever your feet are.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, you're not old, but you keep talking about seasons. And I have to say, you've been through a lot of seasons.
Yeah.
And you seem to have done it positively. I know there's been some dark days, right? And literal dark days, because you can't be in the light if you have a concussion. You can't watch TV, can't read, I mean, that must have been rough.
Pretty rough. Yeah. I think about 2 weeks ago, if we had recorded this podcast, I think I cried every single day that week. And I'm historically not a crier. So that's like a big thing for me. But it's not easy. I look at every concussion has been tough, but this one even, I got it at work. And you think of all the places you're trying to be safe. I'm not even near a sport. I'm not even near a volleyball at this point. And I get hurt at work and then I get work ripped away from me. And so it leaves you questioning, even what's my future look like? Even now, I'm 3 months into this. I still have symptoms. I have a follow-up appointment in another month and I hope that I'm better by then, but maybe I won't be. Maybe it'll be 4 months. Maybe it'll be another 6 months that I've gone through before. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. I had a hospital visit recently that I ended up having stroke symptoms in the whole right side of my body. Questioned whether I'd walk out of that hospital alive. That's how my summer's been,
Well, that's a lot. And still, when you show up to work and you show up to these events, I wouldn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Which is, again, play where your feet are. And you talked about playing like a kid. I have to say, like, watching you with the kids on the court is special too. I mean, you just seem to, you really enjoy your job and you get into it and you're authentic and you're delivering it. Where'd you learn that? Was that mom? Was that at school? Where does that come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the playfulness has always been in me. But I think the kids, the first thing that comes to mind actually is that out of all of my teammates at the University of Miami, I think maybe I was one of the most patient out of many of them. And so for all of our volleyball camps, my coach every summer, we would run the volleyball camps. Our head coaches would run them officially, but then we'd coach, we'd assist, things like that, which were some of my favorite things every year. And my coach would always put me on the smallest little tight court. And so it would be with the girls and boys that maybe didn't have the most skills. We would joke that maybe wore the turtle knee pads still that were just ginormous and the goggles and the sleeves and all the crazy things. But I had the most patience to just have fun with them and show them the sport in a way that made sense to them. And if it didn't, we would just have fun nonetheless. And so I think I've just always loved working with kids in a fun capacity like that. You throw sports in there, I'm sold.
So you talked about a lot of things you did. You talked about working with kids. You talked about coaching. You talked about being on air. What's your favorite thing to do these days?
Wow, that's tough to narrow down. I would just say people. I love people. So whether it is, great stories and conversations like this on a podcast, yours or mine, or whether it is great interviews in studio. You've had Alec Ingold on the show. I have a franchise series with Alec on mine. Fun things like that, great conversation, church on the weekends with friends, hanging out with community here in South Florida, going outside, taking a walk. I think maybe more now than ever, I'm enjoying even just slow moments, like walking by the river in Fort Lauderdale or, just sitting at the beach.
I mean, it's great down
just
there.
Things that are just so peaceful, yet fill your cup back up so much.
So who are some of your favorite interviews that you've done?
Oh, great question. I had a really spontaneous interview with Coach O.
Really?
Before. Yeah, that was a fun one. We were doing spring game at Miami when I worked at Miami before I worked for Channel 39. And he was just walking by. And I remember watching him walk by and I'm like, that's Coach O. That's Coach O. And so I just ran to him and I was like, Coach, can I grab you for a quick interview? And he was like, sure, yeah. And, did a quick little interview, raspy voice and all. And it was fantastic. So that was a fun, spontaneous one. But man, so many amazing ones I've had. I think it was a dream being on the ice
with the Panthers
after winning this year and being able to talk to them, live in the moment. They just won the cup. They got babies on their arms, holding their kids, celebrating the moment, family nearby. That was unreal. That was pretty unreal.
They seem like such a great group of guys.
They are. They're so humble. They're so down to earth. They're so funny. Even some of the players that maybe are a little more quiet and reserved, they're witty, and they're awesome to work with. They're great guys. They really just care about hockey and family.
Yeah.
And they're great in our community.
And they seem to come together. I mean, even guys that they brought in later on,
Brad Marchand, for example, went from like the hatest player in Florida to the most beloved player in Florida.
Yeah.
Unreal.
My brother is from Boston. And he says they call him the little ball of hate.
Yeah.
And like
it matches up.
We love him down here. Yeah. He seems like such a good guy,
Yeah, he's great. Dairy Queen galore, all his shakes and everything after the game.
Oreo shakes, is that it?
Yeah. But I mean, hey, you got pretty much the whole team coming back, so
yeah, no, we're gonna do it again, and they're gonna be live on SFL 39.
That's right.
So we got to do that. So what are we always ask people, especially when you're talking out there and young people are listening, what are some of the things like you like to tell when you're coaching? What do you tell the young people that you're coaching? What's some of the tips that you what's the advice you would give? I mean, you've been through a lot, you put a lot of hard work and dedication into sport. Would you do it again?
Easy, hands down, no matter what. I think I have two responses to your question. My first is work hard.
Right.
And it sounds simple and obvious, but to be quite honest, in today's world, not saying they don't work hard anymore, but I think in a world of transfer portals and NIL, there's so much substance to working hard and staying when life doesn't look perfect.
Right.
When you are riding the bench. I don't think you should expect your career to play right off the bat. If you do, amazing, you're probably good enough to do it. But I think there's something to going to a university, earning your position and grinding to get there, even if you don't start right away. I don't think it's, hey, let me go somewhere where I can start right away. And if I'm not playing at this one school, I'm going to transfer and go play where I can. What happened to loyalty? What happened to hard work? I understand the reasons why some people do transfer. There are absolute reasons why you should. But I think there's something to working hard. And to that point, my second, play where your feet are. I know we've been saying it, but it's true. Play where your feet are. I think so many aspects of that, the point of, we've already said it, the grind, but also the fun, the joy of it, the position you're in, and also where your feet are. That's so important. Comparison kills so many different experiences and expectations nowadays, especially I think for youth, young adults, people going through college years. It's your feet. It's not your teammates. It's not your friends. It's not your dads. It's not, your grandfather was an MLB legend before you tried to be. It's where your feet are. And so kill comparison, know the position you're in, and use the resources, whether that be your strength, whether that be your finances, whether it be anything in your position, and run after it with that.
It's great advice. I mean, there's so much going on in the NIL world and things have to change. I mean, I think it was just something that they obviously decided it was a good idea, which I can't argue it wasn't a good idea.
Agreed.
That, some of these kids will never make the pros and they have an opportunity to make money, a lot of money, some of them. But it's broken right now. And I think it'll get better over time. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping so. I agree. I advocated for it before I finished my college career. And, I even thought of little things like just being a little brand ambassador and, getting to do things that made you $10, not $10 million.
Right.
And so, like you said, I think once you opened the well to that, there's no going back in a sense. But there's work to regulate it. So I believe one of these days we'll have some better regulations maybe around it. But till then, it's a little bit of a free-for-all and we're all just figuring it out.
So I am a fan of women's sports, mostly because I have two daughters, right? So
even if you didn't have two daughters,
no, but it's always been near and dear to my heart. Like that. My wife was an elite gymnast growing up, so a big supporter, and I love watching things like the WNBA come. Like you think about some of women's sports, and like say tennis was like maybe the first kind of situation where the women's tennis is better than the men's for years. So it's great to see other women's sports come up. What do you see out there as far as like things like volleyball, things like content is king these days. And it seems like there's opportunities for these sports to get more of a light of day.
It's happening too. I mean, you look at, I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago in volleyball, Nebraska had Nebraska Volleyball Day.
100,000 people.
I think it was 102 or 108,000 people in that stadium watching a volleyball game. That's probably more than they sell at their football games, to be honest. Easily on any given day. And so to see that, it's growing, not only with that, though, but with the broadcast. You know, ESPN is covering a lot more big-time games. ABC is picking up a lot more big-time games. And so it is really growing. Exposure is happening. It's a really entertaining sport anyway. So I think it really is the fact that if we just get a chance to get on the right screens in front of the right people, it's going to continue to blow up. I mean, Olympic beach volleyball has been big for years whenever the Olympics comes along.
And
so I think
women's gymnastics, of course.
Yes, oh my gosh, I mean, of course.
For years and years and years.
You even look at Ilona Mayer, USA rugby player.
Amazing.
Has taken the world by storm.
Love her. Loved her on Dancing with the Stars. I mean,
she's
what
my
an
dream
ambassador,
right? Yeah.
What an ambassador for women's sports, period.
Exactly. So with the mix of content creation like social media platforms and just getting more broadcasts on an ESPN or national network, it's getting there. It's getting there. We have room to grow, but it's getting there.
It's great stuff. It's great stuff. Well, speaking of great stuff, we live in an amazing community, right?
Yeah.
You grew up down here?
I grew up in Atlanta.
Oh, so you're from Hotlanta.
Hotlanta.
And you wound up here because of University of Miami?
Yes.
So does your mom still live up there or she moved back?
Mom and dad are still up in Georgia.
Okay. And so they're managing from afar.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Mom takes frequent trips. She's got a bedroom in my apartment. So she comes often
and
helps out with so much. Again, co-owners of the business. So if I have a speaking engagement or an event or something, she's always down here to help out.
All right. So I'm quote unquote a transplant. I mean, 30 years down here now. So you've been down here for what, 10?
8 years.
8? I was going to say just about 10. Close 10. So what are your favorite things to do? I mean, what's some fun stuff? What are your favorite spots?
You can't not say the beach.
Right.
The beach is amazing. We take it all for granted.
We do.
But it is still, I think, one of my most favorite things. I said it earlier.
Miami or Fort Lauderdale?
So Miami I'd been in for pretty much majority of these past years. I just moved to Fort Lauderdale last year, and I never realized how much slower Fort Lauderdale was than Miami. You always hear about it.
Right.
But oh my goodness, the difference. So I think my favorite spot for sunrises will still forever always be South Point Pier on South Beach. It's not crazy. It's not the crazy South Beach you hear of. It's very calm. It's by the pier. It's beautiful for sunrise. But I love Fort Lauderdale Beach. I go just a little bit north, like a mile north of kind of the main hub. Yeah. And it's so peaceful. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice up there.
I love it.
All right. What about some of your favorite restaurants? We always like that.
Oh, down south, I got to go Havana Harry's, Cuban food.
Nice.
Up here, S3 on Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Love Tim and his
Amazing.
crew.
Okay, you're familiar.
Yeah,
so good. That's like my go-to telling of people where to go.
It's great. Yeah.
Vibes are great. Right on the beach. It's beautiful.
Good food. I love the tapas kind of style, like shareable things. I mean, that's the way to dine.
And then funny enough, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do love a good chai. And Helena's Coffee, we have one in Plantation.
I've heard.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I think it's loaded with sugar, to be honest.
Of course.
But I love sugar, so it's great.
All right. So we love
Those
sugar.
are my top spots.
Wow.
And church. Always find me at church on a Sunday.
All right. And that's great, too. And up here in Broward or down in Miami?
I go down in Miami to food church. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, so tell me what's coming up or, do a shout out for some of the things that you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. So much is coming up as always. I mean, we got Panthers season starting before we know it. Every event at Amarant Bank Arena we're often covering. So literally today I was at PBR talking with the head coach of the Florida Freedom. But we also have so many University of Miami sports coming up. Volleyball season, of course, for FIU, FGCU, Miami, all other teams around the nation. Women's basketball will be here before you know it. I'll be hosting that. And all things play where your feet are.
Are we going to get a WNBA team down here?
Oh, that would be a blast.
I mean,
well, we did have Unrivaled.
Oh, I mean, we had Unrivaled
this past season, which was great. But
I didn't make it down to it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
all
cool.
Right.
But one day, I could very easily see us having a team.
Okay.
I mean, we have so many sports teams already. It's a great mecca for sports.
All right. Do you want to shout out your website?
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
You can follow me at cam.dobbs on Instagram, at playwhereyourfeet are on Instagram as well, or playwhereyourfeet.com, and then watch Inside South Florida every single day of the week. We've got 5:30 p.m. as well as 7:30 a.m., and then on the weekends as well at 6.
Cameron, thank you so much for coming in. You're amazing. You have such great energy, and thank you for everything you do for South Florida. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll have to go out to the pickleball court again.
Yes, we will.